Good afternoon, Stitch Roadies. Thank you for stopping by. This is a channel about life and a bit of cross-stitch and a bit of craziness. So if you're so inclined to join the fun, please click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and hang out for a while. I have a lot to share, so be sure you have something to drink, maybe a snack for low blood sugar in case you get too excited. But I've had a lot going on the last couple weeks. Jeanette Douglas came for a workshop at Acorns and Threads. Wow, it was amazing. And it was the largest event that Janine had so far held at the Annex, which is the classroom space next door to Acorns and Threads. There is nothing to complain about when you can stitch with friends and then walk next door and shop. Yeah, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. So be sure that you sign up for the newsletter so that you can find out when to sign up for the next workshops. I know that there is going to be Fox and Rabbit is visiting at the end of May, and that will be amazing. I plan on attending that meetup, even though I probably should just stay home and stitch. I can't not go. And I hope I see some of you there. So where to start? I have a lot of kindness. I have a lot of haul. I know. I have a lot of enabling. I have some progresses. And I've done some reading. Yes, it's been a little bit of everything. But what has really captured my focus has been the garden and the yard, because the sun came out this week and it was like all of Portland went to the garden shop. And everybody was kind of giddy. It was so cute because you'd see this long line to check out with plants and garden paraphernalia, and everybody was talking to everybody else. It was just such a lovely experience because we have all been wishing for the sun. We have all been wishing for it. It has been a very difficult winter for many across the nation and the world, and it was a little bit more prolonged, and there are some areas that are still going to be having some events happening because of the good weather. But I'm going to enjoy my yard. I'm going to enjoy my yard. And I have to say that there's a little bit of child in me. Can I say that? There's a little child in me. I like especially for my grandchildren to do a double take sometimes. So I found these little gnome statue at the grocery outlet, which is a discount grocery store near us. And they're just little gnome statues, and I stuck them in the rock wall, like the gnomes are living in the rock wall. So not telling them that they're there, but if they're playing out there, they'll maybe stumble across them. The ducks have arrived, and they are starting to feel very comfortable with us. We have a little pond in our backyard, and they are enjoying it. The frogs are a cacophony of music at night. And the other night, oh my gosh, we had a whole pack of coyotes back there. And they were on to something because they were yip, 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 all, 2:30 in the morning. It was like they were right outside the door. But last night was quiet. It was quiet. So it's just fun to sit out there and watch the birds. And a little bird family has moved into one of our bird houses. And what else? That's the big thing. Yeah, that's the big thing. Everything is starting to pop and bloom. It only takes a day of warm sunshine and everything kind of pops. It's magical. It's just magical. But we're talking about cross stitch though, aren't we? So Jeanette Douglas's class was amazing. I was nervous about it. I have to say, I was nervous about it because I know that she is, I mean, she travels all over the world to teach. She is a huge sought after instructor. So to have the opportunity to take a class with her was really a gift. But those specialty stitches kind of scare me. And it's kind of interesting because someone made the comment, which, I mean, it was like I should have had a V8 moment. They said, well, you do all those Sue Spargo stitches, specialty stitches. What's the difference? I don't know. I was just freaking myself out. And Janine was reassuring me that I was going to understand it, and not only that, but Jeanette herself was a very nice teacher. And it proved to be absolutely the truth. And I would take another class with her in a heartbeat because she's a hoot and a half. But at my table, I get there early because I have to sit. I'm shy. If you didn't know, I'm shy, and I have an introverted soul. So I want to sit in a certain place where my back is to the wall. I'm in a back row at the theater. I know I've told you all this before. But at my table, I was sitting with Cheryl, Stitching with the Sisterlies, Jenny, who is a longtime quilting and stitching friend from south of us, and then Marcia, who lives in Washington, came down, and then Anne, who is how can I say this? She's the soul behind Gloriana Threads. I was like, it was like I was with royalty. I was with royalty. So it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. The only specialty stitches in this chart was a satin stitch, and I understood it. I really did get it that day. I didn't have perfect stitching, and I decided that I wanted to use 2 threads. I'll show you my piece instead of 1. So I'm going to go back over what I already stitched with the second thread, because I think it'll give more coverage. But it's kind of like what you want, Starbucks. So when we arrived, there was a box at our seat, and in the box was the chart, the thread, the linen, counting pins. There's a thread. It's gorgeous. A corner gauge. And then there was this box that snaps together. It lays flat for travel, but then when you need a little tray, you just snap the corners together, and you have a little tray that keeps track of all your stuff. And then the real surprise was one of Corey, her MySpace pieces. Now Corey, Bags by Corey, is the bags you see on the just as you walk in the door of Acorns and Threads. And you're going to want to be sure you're on the newsletter for Acorns and Threads for a couple of reasons. For sure is that that's where you hear about future events, but also there is an upcoming quarterly bag subscription that you're going to want to know about. But inside our package, look at this gorgeous MySpace pad. And what a MySpace pad is that Corey developed this little space, so you put it in front of you flat, and it has that felted interior so that your thread kind of sticks to that. It has a little sweat pad for your drink. There's a hook for threads or your thread keep or scissors, and then there's a needle minder. And then you set this in front of you so you have MySpace. And yeah, Crafty Corey Stitches, handmade by Crafty Corey Stitches. So that truly was like, oh, I mean, this fabric is just gorgeous. So I started, here's the chart that was the workshop chart. And the first set of specialty stitches is that row of acorns right there. So I tried really hard the morning of the second day before I arrived to get all the way down so that I could start the specialty stitches with a little bit of Jeanette support. And I feel pretty good about it. But as you can see, I think I want a little bit more coverage. So even though this count, which I think is 36 or 40, only requires one thread, I think on these acorns I'm going to go with 2 threads. And then included in the box was a kit, a full kit for a small. And look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And so included is the fabric to make the strawberry and the lining and the Lady Dot Creates trim. So that was just such a wonderful surprise. Iced coffee, because it's supposed to be 80 today. Yeah, it's supposed to be 80 today. Well, since we were on a Jeanette Douglas kick, because after all, she's there, I picked up this chart because she had a special display at Acorns and Threads since she was the featured teacher. And when I asked her, she said there weren't any specialty stitches on this particular chart, and I just loved it because the actual model was there. Allergy season. And I loved it. It was only about 8 by 10, but it was this one here. And then if you see underneath the motifs is the word cross stitch in different languages. And I'm going to change one of them to be cross stitch in Korean. After all, the first 2 initials are mine, so I think I'm gonna, where the C is, actually put the year. Whatever year I get this done, we shall see. I loved it though, and it's called Matter in Hand, and Janine has it at the shop. She also showed during the second day this booklet that I had never seen, and when she was showing it, after she was done talking about it, I said, "Can I look at that?" And so she handed it to me, and I told Janine, "Can I buy this?" And it turned out it was the last one. I was like, "Oh my gosh." But you can order, you can call Janine up. She already has an order in because there were several people that wanted it also. It's spiral bound, so easy for use, and it's called Learning Stitches Sampler. It's just a little 5x7 book, and Jeanette was sweet enough. Oh, and it's got this clear plastic cover to keep it from getting all banged up. But she signed it for me. But inside this is actually each of the specialty stitches are shown and demonstrated. This is a gold mine. To me, this is like the stitching books I have for Sue Spargo's stitching in my quilting life. But this is cross stitch, so I was very excited. So if you're interested in this, give Acorns and Threads a call, because this would be like a great support book when Jeanette can't be hanging out with you. So let's see, what else happened? Well, my friend Marcia had told me that she was bringing me some kindness, and I wasn't sure what it was, but she said she was going to bring me a gift and some fabric, because she said she knew, because we do Zoom. If you're all interested, you can contact Acorns and Threads, because there's a Zoom that occurs once a month where Janine is at the shop with people who go into the shop for stitching on an evening. And then there's a Zoom portion of it for those of us who don't want to drive at night or it's too far to go. And at one of those Zooms, Marcia must have heard me say I was looking for this fabric called Wren, and I couldn't remember what it was for. But when I got to the shop, I know, it's like talk. Yeah, you know, you can pause this if you are tired of listening to me and come back later. But unfortunately, if you pause it and you come back later, you're at the same point. Yeah, that doesn't work. Well, you could keep it running and go do something you want to do and then come back and maybe I'll be, you know, all done. But Marcia had heard me say that I was looking for this fabric, and she had a yard of it, so she was willing to split it with me. And I didn't know what I wanted it for. I can't remember. I couldn't remember until I saw in my basket at Acorns and Threads that I had ordered Autumn at Hawk Run Hollow. And so this is Autumn, and this was something that Janine and Jennifer and I were thinking of doing together. Not an official sal, like a start along. And because of the fabric and because of the chart, I only wanted to do, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's like 12 squares, but I only want to do 8 of them. So I'm going to pick 8 out of this and do it, and then on this Wren. And then I picked up the silk thread, the NPI, for the border, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the border and get it all ready, and then when I want to stitch a square, I'll stitch a square. That's kind of like, I've seen people who do these Hawk Run Hollows, they like pumpkin hollow quilts, you know, she does one like in a period of time, and then it's like a mini finish. So I'm going to do the same thing. I am enjoying some stitch alongs, and they are, I'm doing Love My Stitch Sal, and I'll list the little sals that I'm doing. None of them have, like, you don't get points if you get done. There's no pressure. It's all for fun. And so hashtag Love My Stitch Sal is for any stitching you're doing, just to encourage us to keep on going. It's fun to see what everybody's working on. There's not one particular chart on there, so it's really fun that way. And then I have hashtag finish a Prairie Schooler Santa, start a Prairie Schooler Santa, and along with that is Prairie Schooler Santa Friday Sal, and I'll list those different sals. And then I also am doing a sal with that was started by Java Girl Stitches and her friend Anna, and it's called Fruit Salad Sal. And I mean, the whole idea of it totally cracked me up, and I love fruit salad. And yeah, I'm ready for fruit salad. And so I started that, and this is the first chart that I'm doing for that, and this is where I am. And this is on 40 counts, so it's tiny. Yeah, she did on 36, but I had 40 count flax, so it's just a little tinier. So those are the sals that I'm doing. But back to Stitchy Kindness. Besides the fabric that Marcia brought, she brought me a finished piece that she had done, and it was a scattered seed sampler. And she brought the pattern because it was a kit. And so here it is, and it has all the finishing stuff in there, and it is totally me, and I absolutely love it. Look at that. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcia. That was a real highlight. She also told me about these clips. Marcia is like, well, she's like, you know, I called Janine the Yoda, but Marcia's like right up there, cross stitch. And she uses these, like I use the magnetic thingy-majiggers, but I watched her use these little clips, and they were pretty handy. So I went out and when I was at the store, I picked up a pack because they fit right around either a Q-snap or a hoop. Yeah. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, this was a total crack up. I know this isn't in any order. I hope you didn't want order. Because if you did, this might be the wrong place. But I totally cracked up. Sandra from Texas sent this ad to me, which she said, I just had to laugh. And she said that she sent this ad for jewelry to me, thinking that I could just leave it around and maybe G would stumble on it and buy it for me. The thing about G and I is there's no stumbling. When he wants something or I want something, I say, get this for me. Get this for me on my birthday. Get this for me for Christmas. Get this. But this ad was, look at that jewelry. Is that beautiful? Oh. Yeah, so there's no leaving it around and being subtle in this household. Let me just say, yeah, we're both like a sledgehammer. I'm looking to see what else. Elaine, the thing about a workshop is you meet so many people that you might not have ever crossed paths with, and they become that friend in the workshop. And you may never see them again, but in that moment in time, they're like your best friend. And there were so many wonderful people there. I can't even begin to tell you. The chatter level, the noise level, the chatter level was amazing because everyone was having a good time. People were helping each other. They were enabling each other. It was pretty darn amazing. But Elaine, she's so cute because she said, I know these aren't as spectacular as Audrey from Stitchy Witch 42, but I wanted to give you a couple of these if you'd like them. And I was like, yes, yes. And so she gave me 2 of those floss books, you know, so it has the plastic, because I use floss away bags. And so there's one, and there's the other one. Aren't they beautiful? Yeah. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you so much. And then there was another gal there. She and her sister, and she is, her Etsy shop is Stitch in Peace, and she makes project bags and mats for stitching at, and I'll list the Etsy shops in the drop-down box. But she gave me this cute, this adorable little scissor holder, so I put my little scissors in there. But I have zipper fear, and that's a small zipper to, yeah, and the little charm on it. So thank you, Bev. That was just a treat. So what else did I do? Well, when the workshop was going on, you know, you get up, you got to stretch your legs. You can't sit there the entire time. You know, Janine and Jeanette were working the room. They were working the room. But, you know, what are you going to do? You go potty, you got to stretch your legs, so you go shop. And this was a Nashville exclusive kit for 2023 by the Primitive Hair, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. It has to be in my stitching room. So there it is. And Janine has the full kit available. It has the fabric, the Lady Dot Creates, the finishing. It's fabulous. I can't wait to start this. And while I was waiting, you know, Janine, she's pretty sneaky, that girl. Because when you're waiting to check out, to your left is the whole scissor display. Yeah. And then on the counter in front of you is a lot of the newest magazines. And I normally don't buy magazines anymore. You know, I flip through them, and I don't subscribe to any anymore, but I had to get this one. I had to get this one, not only because I am desperate to learn to punch needle, but this chart just was so sweet. Friends Are the Flowers of Life by Lucy Beam. And there it is. I just love the color of the fabric. It's awesome. I don't know where I get that fabric. I'll have to look, because that's just perfect. Just perfect. So that was standing in the wrong place at the right time. Yeah. So what have I been stitching? Well, I'm still a dedicated stitcher. I have to get this particular chart done and framed. And I've got a week to get it done in order to give myself time to get it framed. And this is what I got from Evertote. Here Be Dragons by Modern Folk Embroidery. Love this. And I'm making pretty good progress, but that border is not for the faint of heart. That border is not. So here we are. So where you see on my right hand, the end of that black line is how far down I have to go. So I have to bring that border around, finish the dragon, and put the word dragon. But I have loved every bit of this. It is absolutely perfect. So dedicated stitcher, not compulsive, not monogamous, but dedicated. Dedicated stitcher. And then the other chart that I have been working on is this one, Brenda Gervais, Home. And that's going on top of that beautiful Longaberger basket. And this is where I'm at. I do have the script on the bottom is where our story begins, and that's 1/1. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Not for the faint of heart, I don't think. It's gorgeous though. It's such a soothing color palette. Just a soothing color palette. Let's see, anything else laying around here? No, I think I pretty much covered everything. Yeah, I had a nice time with my friend Nancy. She lives in Nova Scotia, and we talk every so often when we're able to meet up, and we had a nice chat. I don't know, I think, and I know that some of you would just balk at this, but I do think the positive part of the pandemic is that Zoom exploded and you were able to make friends with people that you would have never met before the pandemic. Zoom was not a thing. Talking online was, usually you talk to people but there was a real blessing, and I so enjoy, Nancy and I meet up every so often. We just chat life. Sometimes we stitch, and that connection all came through Patreon, which is another platform that really took off in the pandemic. Yeah, so it's there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff. So what books? What books? Let's get down to books, books. And I told you I finished Lessons in Chemistry. I could not put that down just because it was just a highly entertaining book. And then I moved on to this book that got yanked back. See, I started reading it when I was at retreat, and if I don't have time, you know, I wanted to listen to my girlfriends and to have a conversation with them, so I couldn't have the earbuds in listening to a book. And so it got yanked back before I was done, but I am, I've resubscribed to it from the library, and I'll try to find it here. I'm not going to be able to find it. Am I going to be able to find it? Yeah. Oh. Can you hear the truck go by? Oh, I met this lady that she must not live very far from me, because at the Jeanette Douglas workshop, she said, I must live near you, because sometimes on your video, you'll say, oh, the garbage truck's going by, and then the garbage truck ends up at her house fairly quickly. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so here we go. Picture in the Sand, must read, must read. It's a, and it got yanked back to the library before I finish, and so I was like, subscribe to it again, so I can't wait till it comes back, and I'm going to finish reading it. It is a conversation between a grandfather and his grandson, who, the grandson is, you know, like 18 or so, and by choices he made, he's in a different country. And so this grandson gets to learn about his grandfather, and the grandfather learns about the grandson. And it's lovely. I mean, it's lovely and heartbreaking and interesting, and how little we know. How little I know about my own grandparents, what their lives really were like, and how little I know about my grandchildren really don't know about my life and what I went through when I was young. So this conversation through email correspondences between grandfather and grandson is, yeah, I would think that's a must read. I'm currently, and it's going to get yanked back before I'm done, so I've already resubscribed to it, is Between Two Kingdoms. And that book, at first I had a little bit of difficulty with the way the reader read, you know, which can be a issue for audiobooks, but I persevered. I mean, she sounds young, like young adult. She is a young adult in this book. And so there was a cadence to her speech that wasn't as comfortable for me. But I am glad I stuck with it. And it is the autobiography of a young woman who is going through the life experience of having her life turned upside down because of cancer. And yeah, it's a good read. It's a good read. So those are the books that I have going right now. And other than that, it's garden time. Garden. I planted like 4 tomatoes. The raspberries in my garden bed are going crazy. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, I hope you're doing well. I hope the sun is shining in your neck of the woods. If not, hang in there. It's coming. It's coming. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll have a lot more to show you next time. Love you guys.